Hello everybody and welcome to the 28th episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast, which is a great occasion because I just finished a 28-hour trip back from Thailand. So in excellent spirits to record this episode. And as always, I'm being joined by my dear friends, Peter, Heine, and Nielsen. In Reykjavik, Peter, where are you?
I'm in Copenhagen at the moment. I understand that a 20-hour trip I can probably not compete with, but still within 24 hours I went from Reykjavik to Vilnius. Then I slept there. I drove to Cholet, where me and my family live. I picked up my son, drove him to Kaunas, and flew back to Copenhagen. So now I'm in Copenhagen for a week trip with him. He has a week off from school, and then we go to see family in Denmark. We have been doing Tivoli, Experimentarium, the zoo, all the good stuff. So yeah, just partying around here in Copenhagen.
Sounds like you're leading an amazing life as usual. Laurent Fressinet, you are in a, I have to say, for your standards, not very impressive hotel room. What's going on there?
I'm in Cap d'Agde. This is traditional. I think you've probably never been here, but you probably heard about the tournament. Which
I hear there's a lot of wine drinking and a lot of chess players.
That's actually very true. It's a tournament going on. This is 20th edition. Many strong people won here. Karpov, Anand, Gelfand. All the big names came here. Even a young Magnus Carlsen came here. I played with him in 2006 and 2008. That was my first games with Magnus. So I'm playing this traditional tournament. I didn't travel much, because it's not that far. But can you imagine, I played 14 rapid games in the last few days. So that was quite busy, and it's still going on. So
I can't even keep track of your tournament schedule anymore. You're playing non-stop, right? You're playing Bundesliga, you're playing some rapid event, you're playing Cap d'Agde, you're going to the World Team Championship.
And that's it.
You're back on the circuit.
Yeah, no, I got this invitation. I mean, I like, for me, it's a traditional tournament. I played the first edition in 94, where I saw for the first time people like Karpov, Gelfand, and so I have very nice memories from my childhood here. And I'm always happy to play if I have time. So I'm playing this trophy, which is 8 players. So that's why I play 14 games, because there's a qualifier. So top 4 gets to semi-final. So I won the qualifier at the end. But it was very close. I mean, this morning I was leading by half point out of 3 players, and 1 player was 1 point behind. So I could easily get into the 5th place and get out today, but it was not to be.
I want to mock us, so uninteresting, but since you're doing well over the chessboard, and I was not able to do that in the Thailand Open, I have to tip my hat to you that you're actually qualifying for stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not doing well, actually. I was not playing well at all, but okay.
But the results are there.
Yeah, no.
But you're the favorite in the tournament, right?
I'm the favorite, but now I'm qualified in the semi-final. I will play Maoridzi with 15. There's also Darda with 17. Moroni with probably 20. So I feel like a bit, like old guy. I played Asobayeva, just the last round of the qualifier. I won. She's like 18. She won World Blitz. She finished second in Rapid in this women events. She's very tricky. I thought I played a good game, but I was on -2 at some point. So actually, I just checked the game. Yeah, before we were talking before the show. I checked the game, and to my surprise, 2 moves before the end, basically, I'm lost. So it's been a tough qualifier, actually.
All right. Best of luck in the Cap d'Agde tournament.
Thank you.
Peter, what shall we talk about first? Your Reykjavik adventures, my Thailand adventures. Did we have similar adventures, different adventures?
I would assume different, but so I can start with mine. Then we'll see. Then I'm not biased about yours. I'm trying to just be like you. But I generally had a great time in Reykjavik, I'll say. But it's a strange place to be in many ways. I mean, you arrive there and it's just completely dark and it's raining all the time.
Different from Thailand so far. Yeah.
So far, yeah. And also, I wake up in the morning, 5 o'clock, heavily jet lagged, no idea what to do. Then I realized, okay, you can actually go swimming. Well, the swimming class sort of opens at 6:30 in the morning.
The 5 o'clock in the morning, no idea what to do, I can relate.
Yeah. Again, we're not in sync. But I basically sort of asked the reception at 5:50 in the morning, how do I walk to this kind of outdoor swimming pool? So I was basically just in the dark, walking around in the center of Reykjavik to find some place to swim. And well, much to my surprise, it's just full with people. I mean, a lot of Icelanders go swimming early in the morning before they go to work, right? So you will have this outdoor swimming pool where you swim, you hang out in the sort of hot tubs or the cold tubs or whatever they are, and you just hang out there before you go to work. So basically I was doing that from 6:30 and I went back to sort of the hotel and had breakfast there. But no, this is really sort of lovely with Iceland in that way, but also pretty weird in some way. While I mean these days, I would say in Europe, energy is sort of the new gold. In Iceland, just hot water is they have en masse, obviously, because of their location and things like that. But it was a great tournament. I mean, the opening ceremony is quite special. I mean, you meet a lot of these guys who was there 50 years ago. I mean, you meet this one. Yeah, I actually organized the Fischer's basket match. The next one sort of shows picture of him going fishing with Fischer just after the match. He said Fischer wanted to relax, so I took him out to fish some salmon and stuff like this. And you get a lot of personal experiences. I asked him, so is the guy completely crazy at the time? He said, no, not at the time. And it's interesting to get impressions from people who's actually met Fischer and who's spoken to these guys. And then this guy Heine, he was the big organizer in Iceland when I started playing. He also took me around for sort of showing me where Fischer had lived. I mean, we went to see Fischer's apartment in Iceland, which was, I have to admit, rather modest. And you go around the center, you see this is Fischer's bookstore. They have made a nice exhibition about him. He used to sit somewhere in the corner and read. And I put up a chess set there, and I went to Fischer's favorite Thai restaurant. So at least there is some connection to you, right?
Now we're talking. Massaman curry.
Oh, you actually guessed my dish. I was exactly having a Massaman curry at
That is the best dish. Shout out to Massaman curry.
Exactly. No, that actually really rocks, and that be it Reykjavik or Thailand. And so that's cool. They have Fischer's portrait on the wall. You sit there, you get some good Massaman curry, and you hear anecdotes about Fischer. So that was actually very good. But basically, also, I'm explaining the highlights of my social life in Iceland because I really love Chess 960, but it was absolutely boring being a second there because, normally during a tournament, right, you have 6 hours, you prepare the openings, today you play Geary, you check this line, you check that line, you panic, you send an email to Fressinet, all kind of stuff and intensity. Here, there's just nothing to do. You check your opponent's games in 960, you can say, okay, he plays crap in the opening, everybody does. And you really don't know what to do. So at some point I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And I started checking out my phone and found the Google Assistant there. I've never used that before, sort of speech recognition, right? And I checked Peter Heine Nielsen, bing. It goes to Google, finds a picture of me. Jan Gustafsson, bing. German Grandmaster, yada, yada, yada. And Chicken Chess Podcast, exactly, gets everything correct. But when I try Laurent Fressinet, I had like an uphill battle for 1 hour. I'm not capable of training my phone to actually understand when I say Laurent Fressinet.
But you also say Fressinet, no? Which is very far from me, actually.
And you can imagine that the person maybe having me as a neighbor can hear me for like 1 hour just pronouncing Fressinet different ways to get my phone to understand it. But most of the time I was getting sort of Longford cinema, which is quite wrong. Sometimes I would get some kind of French female model or some French wine. But basically, no, everything else, it gets straight. But Laurent Fressinet, I cannot pronounce enough for Google Assistant to understand. So I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong, but at least I've trained, but I failed. So that's...
So your phone is really, really clever, yeah? That's
Yeah, it seems to be. No, I thought also that the idea is it gets used to your voice, you train it, but no, I just failed. Anyway, we failed in numerous things in Reykjavik, unfortunately. But this Chess 960, I have to say, is incredibly fun. I mean, this I really enjoy, and it was a great tournament. The way it was organized there is like 25 minutes before the games, we meet in the reception of the hotel. We meet, it's the seconds and the players. And, you can argue that it's a bit unprofessional that we're just meeting in the reception of a hotel for a world championship, but you can say also it's a bit charming in a way, right? So there is this security check that happens before. And, basically, it's me as a second. I'm standing there. In the reception, there is people sort of checking me everywhere on my body with this kind of scanners, and Norwegian television is filming it. At some point, I have to stand on one leg because they will test my shoe. I'm about to fall. There is journalists there. It's kind of a weird thing, and I don't know why security checks has to be done in public, but I guess we do everything in public. Well, I'm pro transparency, so right now.
No, we do everything in public. That's what she said. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. I think also, I don't know how this security check is actually working. I mean, NRK, the Norwegian television company, was testing it at some point. I think they said that 2 of their persons got caught, but 3 of them managed to smuggle in some, special glasses or some earplugs or whatever. But I think... No, there is some testing done, but also, they test us and then they don't test us anymore. But this is 20 minutes before the game. I mean, we had the chance to go to the toilet or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could actually hide something and pick it up. So I guess it's mostly for show. But, the interesting part is, of course, that 15 minutes before the game, all the players gets the position. So everybody lines up behind the television and then they reveal one piece at a time. So like to have maximum drama. And then there is 15 minutes where the players can go and discuss the position with their second. And I was Magnus' second. So basically, in practical terms, we had 12 minutes discussing one of these 960 positions before he has to go and play a game. And I have to say that is incredibly fascinating. Well, it also means that I have in sort of a 24-minute workday, which is also not too bad. But you get there and you talk about, then there's a knight in the corner, maybe you can activate your queen and stuff like this, some kind of very weird terms that you never use in normal
you felt
chess.
Useful? I mean, this 12 minutes, actually, you said you worked 24 minutes, but how useful or how useless you were?
I don't know. I think in the beginning, I was probably mildly harmful, but then it got better in the end, and I would say I was kind of useful. I think even in one of the games, I told him, actually, if this structure happens, you can reroute the knight via e7 to c6, and he did that. So, I mean, that at least made me a bit happy. But generally, believe it or not, sometimes I try to think that, it was possible to play this position aggressively while it was not. So my instincts was too aggressive in a way. But I think also, it's just very interesting to talk about these positions. And I think generally Magnus managed to get quite good positions in the opening. So we were rather successful there. Some of the players didn't bring a second. And I think, for instance, Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura were sitting together, discussing the positions together.
Well, is that allowed? That sounds much stronger. No offense.
Excellent. I mean, you're making up my point. I was actually telling the arbiters, is that actually allowed? And they seem to think it is. So it's not a complaint. It's just that I was a bit surprised by that. Also, before the tournament, of course, I read the rules very carefully. They said you cannot get help from an Indian. So I asked them, can I bring a game collection of 7,000 games I have printed out in 960 positions to have them? And I think basically the FIDE guys just looked at me, okay, now this guy again asks all kind of relevant yet idiotic questions, right? So I think basically the agreement was you can bring a second, you can bring close, but that's it. No help in any kind of way. So that's how it worked. The tournament went kind of well. I mean, the first it starts with a group stage, perhaps like Cup Dutch, or actually exactly like Cup Dutch. That there is. Don't
ask about your to Google Assistant about Cup Dutch, because you won't get you you won't get any answer. I'm really sorry about that.
Gabdage.
Yeah, Kamdash. Yeah, exactly. Better not. But there is, pardon my French. But there is a group stage which leads to semifinals and finals. And Magnus had a stupid loss to Nakamura the first day. So even at the last days, it was a bit tricky if he would qualify. But he managed well and even won his group. A bit surprisingly, Wesley So was eliminated. He was the reigning champion, and basically I considered perhaps the best 960 player in the world. I mean, he's even made a chessable court, which I bought and saw half of it, and he made some very advanced impressions about chess 960. But he was actually eliminated. So the semifinals was Magnus against Nepomniachtchi and Nakamura against Abdusattorov. But before this, there was a free day, and and the free day there was some excursion and such. But the night before the free days, I think that the Icelanders was having some kind of party which Magnus joined. So I basically had to eat on my own. I ended up with the guys, and some of them said, "Well, Nepomniachtchi's sponsor is having a party," and he phrased it the Russian party, and he looked at me, "Maybe you want to join?" Then he changed his mind. So basically I just, as usual before the free day, I went back to my room and sat on my own. So that was...
Hang on, you could have joined a Russian Nepomniachtchi sponsor party? Could have snuck in?
I think so.
That's paradise for you, no? Like...
You think I could have tried to convince them one by one, basically like 12 Angry Men. I just go around and everybody joins my cause, right?
No, yeah. I was thinking more you record everything secretly on your phone in your pocket, and then you use it in 10 years for whatever, the Peter Heine all tell book.
That thing also was a problem with me and Boris Pollet's campaign, that we simply think that you have to follow the rules because that's how you do it. And that's not I would have lost anyway, but it's not a winning strategy. But you actually have a good point. I could have snuck in and tried to, dig up some dirt. But no, I went up to my room, analyzed 960 positions with various chess engines and tried to prepare for the semifinal and final. Semifinal, Magnus completely crushed Nepomniachtchi in the first game, was winning in the second game. So basically I thought that's it. I even started tweeting. I was that confident, not about chess, but various politics and such. But Magnus lost the game. He lost the next one, and then he lost the third one, and he was out.
Yeah.
He was basically winning in all the games. And I think afterwards, he was complaining. He was saying that, Nepomniachtchi doesn't even try to play 960. He just plays normal chess and plays quickly and then tries to hustle and try and pressure. And I think Nepomniachtchi fired a bit back on Twitter, and I wouldn't say there was some kind of bad blood, but there was a bit of
I missed that
about it.
I missed completely that. Pity. I will update because that's a weird complaint, no?
By Magnus or what?
Sounds like me. These young people, they aren't even trying to understand the game. They just make moves quickly and then they take all my pieces in time travel.
What to expect from Nepo actually?
I get your point, but I think it's also honest. Magnus thought, 960 is incredibly interesting. Let's actually try to optimize the position rather than just playing some random moves. And
classical is also very interesting. Classical chess is very interesting, and it's what Nepo does.
No, but he wants classical time control for 960 because there's more possibilities, and rapid for classical, right?
Exactly. Yes. And this he feels very strongly about. He thinks that 960 is a complicated game, and I very much understand it. It's very difficult to play the starting positions. Of course, you need to have more time.
Makes sense.
While in normal chess, it's too easy because you know all the moves. You know you have to play the Berlin. You know there is the scimitars, whatever. You know how to handle the opening phase. So in order to get a decisive result, we need to have less time. I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think he has a chance to get it through, even if he's the world champions, at least for a couple of months more. But no, that he strongly feels is the case. And I agree with him. I'm paid to do that. But even... Private Peter also agrees with him. So I think it will be interesting. Believe it or not, but I got so excited about Chess 960 that I thought, how do I stay in touch with Chess 960? So I have joined Chess 960 correspondence tournament starting in a few days. So
sounds very exciting. I'm happy for you.
That's really
Yeah. I will keep you posted about this. And I checked my group. There's a couple of, I thought, some tough players. They rated 2400, and I thought, damn it, how am I going to compete with them?
Use an engine like everybody else.
Yeah, I will use an engine. Also, I checked them on the feeder list, and they are like 1700 in ELO, and they're between 60 and 85 years old. So
just normal correspondence players, no?
It probably is, yeah. And I feel young again. And no, we'll see how it goes. No, I'm basically curious. Am I capable with having all kind of different engines? 900 points more in ELO. Am I capable of beating them, or it's just going to be draws? Or
Laurent, question for you: when Peter gets excited about something very boring like this, is he faking it to pretend he's still interested in chess, or is he really interested in it? Because I can never tell.
No, I think he's really interested, but I'm much more interested in your trip to Thailand to be fully transparent with both of you. And I was checking on my phone Magnus Carlsen tweets and answers, but I didn't see a single tweet for the last week. So I think you are making this up, Peter.
Yeah, but you're wrong. Maybe he was not tweeting it. Well, he made a tweet that, where he was dissing Barcelona. Yeah. I think Nepom was making a parody of that, but he was giving interviews where he said that somehow. And I think that, basically, when we get to the final, it's Nakamura against Nepom, and it's the match for bronze was Magnus against Abdusattorov. And I think basically both Magnus and Abdusattorov was clearly trying to play chess 960. They cared about the opening phase. It's obvious that they were thinking in non-typical ways, while I think those playing the final, they were just playing rapid chess, trying to get over the opening phase without any major accidents.
So they had a better strategy, yeah?
That's the case. That's the logical conclusion.
It was they do all the time. Yes, they play fast and they can calculate. So.
They did, but Magnus had great positions against Nepom. He just kept losing, and that was quite surprising to me. It's a bit.
What's the story with Magnus? Because he had. I guess it's difficult to compare, but it looked like there were quite a few blunders that were uncharacteristic for him. Is that because chess 960 is so much tougher, or what's happening?
I don't know. It could be, of course. There is a difference. You have to start focusing from move one, and you don't get to relax. My hunch is that you have played 4 960 games in a day. That's 4 to 5 hours of concentration. You also had 2 times 12 minutes arguing with me about the starting position and such. It probably puts a mental strain on your body. And he gave the impression of being tired after the game. And maybe 4 games is too much like this. It reminds me a bit of when we played in Monaco. Well, I played in Monaco once, but you have played the blindfold game. It's actually very, very tiring. And I think 960 is much more tiring because you cannot just rely on intuition. You're trying to figure out how to develop your pieces normally. The tactics are typically much more unusual.
But it's the same for everybody else, and they didn't blunder that much. No?
That is not true. You saw some of them.
Maybe it's not true. Actually, yes. Fair
I think that's not true. For instance, the first game Magnus had, he was winning against Fedoseev after 6 moves, and in several games you will see.
No. Early on, I agree, but later on, where normally his dominance increases, it felt like he had more unforced errors than usual, but maybe it's a tiredness thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right, but they did as well. I think if you look at these games and compare them with normal chess games, there are going to be so many more blunders, and there's going to be much huger swings. Actually, it would be very interesting if there is any kind of tool that can measure your ELO based on the games. My hunch is that they would drop several hundred points of ELO when they play 960, simply because it's much more difficult.
It's fun to watch. It gives us hope. No, everybody looks very pedestrian, even the best players.
I think so. And as far as I heard from those who was doing the coverage, they said the numbers was not too bad. They were basically perhaps similar to some of the Magnus online events where they play sort of rapid. So that was I mean, no, that was quite good. I generally have hated 960. I thought it was unserious. Let's focus on real chess. But I have to admit, I've become a fan, and sort of partly because of Magnus dragging me there, partly because I overtake him and start studying. I think, okay, this is actually interesting. But basically, you just feel you learn a lot new stuff about chess, and that's very, very interesting.
But now we can tell the stories that he won the match thanks to us against Nepo, thanks to our great opening work. In the World Championship match. I mean, now no opening prep. I mean, opening prep only with you, actually. Only with you, Peter. And it's a disaster.
12 minutes with Peter.
He's losing 3-1. So this is clear what was missing there.
You're trying to create the story that you managed to take a mediocre player like Magnus and make him into a beast in World Championship match. Well, good luck with that one, I think. But yeah. I understand your statistics. No, I was, in a sporting way, I was disappointed. I mean, I really wanted him to win this 960 World Championship because this is the last title he lacked, and I thought it was very interesting, and I looked very forward to it. I mean, it was an incredibly enjoyable event from that perspective. He just didn't win, so that happens, I guess. Well, it did happen.
So yeah, that's a lot of. He's losing a lot of world champion title. Maybe in 1 month I will get more. I think it's very likely that I will get more world champion titles than him. After France will crush the world team championship.
Could be, yeah. So that's
finally
that's it. And then well, I hang out with the feeder guys, but that's as always, right? So.
I'm very impressed by Nakamura, I must say. I mean, he's very impressive. I mean, in every this rapid this online stuff, this title Tuesday is winning, like basically he's winning more than 1 out of 2. It's very strong. He's so good in this rapid and blitz. So consistent. I mean, like always delivering. I mean, this is so impressive. Even this Championship Tour, I mean, he almost beat Magnus. So he's always very, very consistent. And he's not that young anymore. I mean, I think he's
like you.
No. He's a bit younger,
he's
but
like 35.
He's 35, 36. So that's amazing, actually. Congrats to him. And he's streaming like crazy, actually. He's talking all this nonsense in his stream. I mean, like for 6-7 hours a day. And still keeps playing like in Rapid and Blitz. I mean, like Magnus is better, but who else?
Even in candidates, he was impressive. I mean, well, he might have some limitations to his absolute maximum level, but he's incredibly stable and he keeps performing.
It's amazing.
No, I'm also very impressed. I didn't expect that he was capable of doing what he did here. I mean, and he did. And, well, I mean, I can whine a bit about Magnus having good positions, but who cares, right? I mean, it's not... you just have to respect what he's doing and be impressed. There's no way around it.
Yeah, it's very, very special, especially when you know he's talking to Chet, who is not great at chess all day, which something I'm used to. And I see that, the levels of chess I'm playing at, and that he just keeps performing at a world class level and wins those things. It's very, very special.
It's a bit sad that to entertain his chat it will cost him $100 million, but that's how it is. I mean, for the boy cow, he will be bankrupt.
I thought he was the one who was safest.
I also
read an article.
It's what they said, but who knows?
I read an article by Peter's friend Stefan Löffler saying that Magnus is clearly distracted by the 100 million looming. That's why he's blundering in Fischer Run.
Well, journalist has to create stories, right? As a coach, it seemed to me that he played some bad moves at the wrong time, and that his blunders was too costly. But it could be. But I mean, there's also been saying that when Magnus was in some kind of shitstorm about this betting sponsorship in Norway, he had one of his best tournaments. I mean, at least I have not heard from his own mouth that this is any kind of reason for.
No, but let's see. I mean, like, you cannot judge after one tournament. Of course, if he's playing 5-6 tournaments, which are bad.
No, it's also, I mean, He did. He was knocked out of the semifinal of Duda in this in Carlsen tour last week. So somehow, sort of previous
Champion
week.
Chess Tour, not
And
Carlsen.
we will see it as disappointing. But he did actually secure overall win of the tour with one tournament to go. It's also, I mean, if we consider that a failure, then the other successes has to be pretty good, right?
Yeah, but we're not really doubting Magnus good at chess. So I think the standard, if he doesn't win an event we consider it as a failure, is the standard he would want himself, no?
Yeah, I think also, well, I mean, you're talking about the lawsuit thing, but, well, also I think during Reykjavik, he signed off to his world championship title, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the details, but it seemed like now he is given in writing that he's not going to defend his title, and they have officially sort of invited Dingley Rank. So, I mean, theoretically, that could also weigh on him. But again, I don't think that we need to look for external excuses. I mean, he makes bad chess moves at times.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the important part of the program.
Exactly.
I did not manage to defend my Thailand Open title. I lost a lot of rating. Your boy, Ganguly, he's the new Thailand Open champion. Great victory for Team Vichy. Congratulations to him. And yeah, I'm a bit torn. I had a great time, as always, in Thailand. But I also played like such an idiot. I was thinking about it, I think, since age 13. I haven't played worse, like consistently. I mean, 13 you can...
You took some buy, no? At some point you just disappeared from the live. I'm sorry to bring that up.
No, from the live boards I disappeared early, but then later on I took a...
Yeah, I tried to find you, but...
Yeah, I was hiding, battling Indonesian 2100s.
I was getting updates that you were playing the Dragon on Twitter by Kolovic, who has apparently went there and checked it visually because you were not on the live boards, right?
Yeah.
So...
No, I took a bye at some point, trying to stop the bleeding. Didn't help. I took the bye, got a draw, came back, made another draw against the 2000. But then heroically won my last 2 rounds. No, it was rough. It was rough. What can I say? And yeah, I think I was priding myself in sort of keeping my mediocre chess level, even though playing very, very little. And now this has been a really, really serious drop, which I guess I had coming, but it's you never know when it's gonna hit you beforehand, because you think, okay, I'll be all right. But then I look at Laurent, who had such a problem some years ago, and now he's back to full strength. So I believe there's still hope when one commits.
I'm back to full strength. I mean, I'm like 100 points less than my peak rating, so I'm not really...
Yeah, it's true. You're just stable. Yeah.
I mean, I'm 26-22 and my peak it was 27-21. So I mean, I'm not back to full strength, and I will probably never, even if you know me, I'm an optimist. And I think everything, but if I get to 26-50 already, I will be very, very happy. But that will be incredible. I understand it will be incredibly difficult to achieve, actually.
No, but I'm saying you're playing chess again. I didn't measure it so much by your peak rating, but I saw you at the Olympiad. I see the way you're playing now. You're playing more or less normally. Maybe not the way you would want to, but it looks like you're...
Yeah, I'm playing like a normal...
Yeah.
Standard guy, yeah. Peter, what is your solution about that?
We know my solution. Actually, I have to admit that I think a week ago I was secretly checking your both on the Elo list to check if was I perhaps the highest rated chicken. I'm probably the lowest rated chicken, but it's very...
No, we can't let that happen. I have to stop the...
No, but
it's very close. I mean, you guys having a bad tournament, that's it. I mean, then I'm above you.
No, but you will be it's clear that you will be the highest at some point, because we'll keep playing. I mean, at least some Bundesliga for Jan, or maybe Thailand Open. And I will keep playing some stuff, and at some point, I'm sorry, Jan, but we will go below Peter. But okay, I mean,
But
we can play matches against Peter.
I want to play a match with Peter. I think he's massively overrated.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was invited to Dortmund a year ago or 2 years ago, and I thought a bit about it, and I thought, no, it's not going to work for me. So, but I actually want to hear from Jan. You did not too well there. Is it your impression that Thailand Open has an influx of talented young players who is heavily underrated, or is it just you getting old? But I assume that the first thing could actually quite matter.
I think it's a bit of both, but also once I get too deep in my head and start missing too many legal moves. You can't hide behind, but these guys are really underrated. I think that's true to some extent with many young players all over the world, with chess information getting easier to obtain, and of course with COVID, some people had time to look at chess, but it's not an excuse for my performance and the way my head was working. Like, of course, I can be connected. You don't win a game and you start getting deeper in your own head and so on. But I don't think these two things are very connected.
No, but I must say that the biggest difference for me is that the level of resistance. I mean, like, to win games, so much tougher now. People are defending like crazy. I mean, like, it's very, very difficult, and they're creating much more problems.
There's that, but there's also getting a good position. Like, against these much weaker opponents I played, usually I would expect to be winning out of the opening a fair amount, but I only managed once in the tournament.
Okay.
And if you don't win out of the opening and you play like an idiot, you have to work all of a sudden. Like,
yeah, but
so I think it's both the resistance, but also the people just play better openings now at all the levels, and I blame us to some extent. We taught them. That was stupid.
Yeah, that and AI, I think. But yeah,
I'm having good positions generally after openings, but then I get some.
But you're using all the match prep. I thought I can't use all the match prep.
Getting some. It was my point. I'm getting some angry messages from Peter. Actually, the only game I lost here was I tried the Sicilian, and that was. I mean, like, I was overconfident at some point. I played some Sicilian. I got completely crushed. I mean, like, never again.
But that's the nice thing with 960. You don't have to care about these things anymore, right? I mean,
yeah, but how do I win games if I don't win in the openings?
Do you think we would be great 960 players?
Yeah, you would not be too bad, actually, because then you have to start studying again, and you might actually be quite good at that, I would say, to sort of learn new skills, to understand some things. I mean, you look at position with the engine, you try to understand, okay, these kind of things matters. Here you should not play G4, you should actually play D4 instead, and I don't think that you would be too bad at it, no?
I think it's wrong. We are so much better than people. I mean, I think you don't get... I mean, like, I think we are so much better than people at openings. I mean, now I'm playing regularly. I mean...
Yeah, but, I mean, no, but I'm sorry, but I think me and Jan, we consider ourselves experts who could kill everybody in the opening. And we consider you one of those that we could kill, who are now gotten so much better in the opening. And it's just hopeless. I mean, I feel the same like Jan. I mean, when I went back to Bundesliga, I could barely get an advantage against a 2400 player, which I would normally completely crush in the opening phase. I mean, I have no idea how to do it anymore. So, I mean, I ended up playing the London, which is, well, at least a joke. But no, it's... I mean, I assume also in the Thailand Open, you cannot bust players in the opening anymore.
I won one game out of the opening, but...
oh, nice.
Well, really, we're talking 2,100 opponents. It's very modest levels we're talking about. But yeah, in general, I think with engines so much stronger and the information so much better and people, they play mainstream openings. And if not, they know their stuff. It's gotten harder, but we're once again sounding like old men. It's a jungle out there. It's not like you're playing world beaters in the Thailand Open. I just couldn't play.
No, maybe. Ganguly managed, to be fair, right? So, yeah. It seems possible. He is rough. I know.
But you had a great time.
I still had a great time, which I'm not sure I should play 25 rating points for having a good time every time. Maybe I should just go on holidays. But it's nice, Yesterday morning before my trip, I got kicked out of the very nice Shangri-La hotel, so I had like 6 hours to kill. I went, had a beautiful cafe mocha, nice fresh juice, some apple crumble pie, sitting in 25 degrees. Then I went to the gym, paid 60 baht, which is like €1 to use a very nice gym. Then I felt a bit sweaty after the gym, got a nice Thai massage. It's just time goes by very nicely. Then I had a nice lunch. You can just, live in Thailand. It was beautiful. Then I went to the airport, to Chiang Mai airport, tried to check in. Doesn't make you nervous when you're trying to check in, and when they pick up the phone immediately. Like, it's normally not a good sign.
Never happened.
Never happened? Wow. No, my flight was cancelled from Chiang Mai to Bangkok.
Oh.
But I was rescheduled on the next flight, no problem. And yeah, then I flew to Bangkok. Flew from Bangkok to Dubai. fell asleep on some bench in Dubai. And when I woke up, I realized one of my AirPods had gone. Oh. I'm really addicted to my AirPods, I've noticed.
Well, also basically you were doing sort of the match tour, right? You went to Thailand and then you went to Dubai, right? Sort of. I mean, as a 10 months reunion tour, something like that.
That's true. That's true. I stopped at all the good stops.
I should join. We should do commentaries next year. I mean, try to find Jan. So, I mean, thanks to you. First of all, I'm grateful that I discovered Thailand. Thanks to you.
You're welcome.
I mean, that was amazing, especially the second. I mean, the first match against Caruana, I mean, it was too long. I mean, Magnus won in tie breaks. That was very annoying.
But it was a bit stressful. Also, you ruined like all our fun with the tie breaks.
The second match was better against Nepo. Let's face it. I mean, that was much more relaxing. After 8 games, we all knew when he was +2. We all knew that. Okay. Even Nepo knew, I think. I mean, like, everyone knew.
We had a good time in Phuket. Shout out to Phuket. But Chiang Mai, also a fantastic city. In Phuket, where we were, was a bit more of a touristic place. Chiang Mai, well, it's everything, but it's really, really beautiful.
It's better than Phuket?
I can recommend it.
If you have to give life choice advice to young chess players, it almost sounds like having Thailand as a base makes it incredibly cheap. Well, for instance, I live in Lithuania. It's obvious things are cheaper than in Denmark. But you sound like if you move to Thailand, you can actually live quite well as a professional chess player. Is that getting it wrong?
Depends if you're planning to make any money as a professional chess player, because they don't have chess tournaments other than that one.
No, you will have to travel to Europe now and then and win some money. But
yeah, but that's a big problem, right? The flight to Europe and the trip, that's not going to work. But if you're not a professional chess player, but I don't know, an IT freelancer doing anything they can do remotely, you could do much worse than living in Chiang Mai, where you can get, I'm sure, a beautiful apartment for a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
And the cost of food and in general life quality is so much lower. I still find ways to spend a lot of money, but I'm also an idiot.
Me too.
No, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and highly recommended to go visiting.
Even the daily massage, Peter, which we got during the match, just to feel better, to work better, was incredibly cheap. I mean, everything is cheap there.
Yeah.
No, the massage I got was 200 baht, which I guess is like €6.
Yeah.
And since I'm a high roller, I gave 100 baht tip. So it was like €9 for a 1 hour excellent massage.
Yeah, no,
like it's nice there. What can I say? Love it, but I should not lose all my rating. Ideally, but what can you do?
Yeah, the Thai gambit. Anyway, is that?
That was very exciting. I'm a bit jealous. I should join. I should find a way to join, but I don't want to play.
Yeah, I hear you. Maybe they'll need commentators or something, or maybe they won't be able to afford good commentators. So. Boom! There's our chance.
Yeah, that's true. What should we should talk about Monaco?
What's the Monaco? That's the women's candidate tournament?
That's the women's candidate, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't follow much. I saw that Anna Muzichuk won. I mean, like, that's the problem, yeah. I won't come to the FIDE segment, don't worry, Peter, because I saw Sutowski was tweeting about that.
No, I have other stuff planned for FIDE segment. You can take it here, don't worry.
So it's it's actually quarterfinals. They were divided in 2 groups, 4 players in Monaco and 4 players which they will play where, Peter? You know better? The second part?
I think in Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan, yeah, where there will be the Russian players actually in Uzbekistan, and now there's the Ukrainian players, basically the Muzichuk sister. One of them lost. They almost both lost, but Anna Muzichuk won the last game on demand against Koneru, and then she won a crazy tiebreak, as far as I could tell. And now she's playing the final against.
Well, she won a tiebreak where Koneru basically blundered a piece in 2 moves.
Yeah, but with fatigue and so on, yeah, that's the way it ends. And now she's playing the final against Lake Tingjie. At the time we're recording, it's 2 draws. So I guess it's 4 games, 6 games? We don't know?
I don't know. I assume 4 games, but I haven't checked, to be honest.
So actually, it's the semi-finals, yeah?
Yeah. The winner will qualify to play the winner of the other candidates group, and the winner of that match will get to challenge Juve and Jun for the World Championship match later.
So, actually, do you think FIDE is rooting against Muzichuk?
Who in FIDE, but I think it depends who you ask. But generally, yes, I think that it would be more practical for FIDE if there was not a Ukrainian-Russian clash. There's no doubt about that. On the other hand, for FIDE, it would also be great if they could stage such things. So I think they're a bit split, but generally, obviously, yes, the idea is to sort of split that apart because I mean, with a Ukrainian-Russian clash, you have to make some kind of decision. And if the decision is that they have to play, then the Ukrainian might have to withdraw for legal reasons, and then you have a problem, and so on and so forth. So it would make the lives of them, for FIDE, easier, of course, if Anna Motyshuk didn't win the semifinal. That's my impression, yes.
Because in the other group, I think there's 3 Russian players, so it's very likely that a Russian will get out.
Well, yeah, it's Koryoshkina, Lakno Kostenyuk, and then, it's embarrassing, I think a Chinese player, but I forgot her name.
So,
But there was a bit of stories there. I mean, I think the FIDE CEO, Mr. Sutovsky, was complaining that, well, I mean, we have excellent venue, exciting games, but no one really tweets or talks about it. We don't have enough spectators. How are we going to solve that problem? And,
why spending a lot of money?
Spending, well, the excellent conditions for the players as well, both in terms of location and in terms of financial benefits as well, right?
Yeah, I think they are in Hermitage, which is not the worst hotel in the world. One of the best hotels in the world, simply.
I obviously have complained about one of the sponsors because he's on a Ukrainian pre-sanctioned list, but let's stick to chess for a change, right? I mean, well, Sutovsky's suggestion and others was that they should put the open candidates tournament together with the female candidates tournament to ensure they get more spectators. But I'm obviously not a fan of that, but we can have your opinions first if you prefer.
I think the debate is now, are people not watching it because it's whatever 2530 versus 2570 players, or because the players aren't famous enough? I don't know, if Gotham Chess, whoever is more famous, would be playing, probably there would be a bigger following, or the both sisters. So I guess it's not just about the rating. I'm not sure how many purists there are out there that just want to see the best games. Like,
it'll be me, but yeah.
That's Peter, who only watches like Stockfish versus Lila.
No, I mean, for instance... Exactly. I'm watching the TCEC final at the moment between Stockfish and Lila. And, well, I mean, are you anti-robot since you're not watching them? Or how does it work?
I'm anti-chess. If I'm not paid,
You're anti-chess. Fair enough.
But, I mean, I think they will be very disappointed with the numbers of views for the match Dingliren-Nepomniachtchi, because you need a charismatic champion as well. I mean, and we were lucky to have Kasparov, long time ago, Karpov, even Magnus. And you would argue if...
I disagree. I think the World Championship match brand is strong enough. Like, maybe not as a Magnus match, but it will be pretty big. Yeah.
No, but okay, come on. You want to compare the viewership of Carlsen-Nepomniachtchi and Dingliren-Nepomniachtchi? I think it will just be crushed.
We can compare.
No, I mean, China is a big country, but let's see. But probably I agree with you both here, but no, that I get. But, well, I think the female candidate suffers from various things. I mean, it's split in 2 things, doesn't help. I mean, there is 1 or 2 games going on, but also, well, the best players are not there either. Hoye Fan is missing. We know the Polga also exists, and the ratings are lower. But also, I mean...
There's no real narrative, right? Or, I mean, the female circuit hasn't built that. If you get to Hoye Fan versus Polga, then you can say the legend versus the other all-time strongest woman and so on. But
numbers will be great.
Yeah, exactly. That people will watch. But
I see the games, but it doesn't particularly interest me, and I don't particularly root for anybody. And I guess that's for many people, that they're not really emotionally attached to it. And this idea of putting it at the same times as the open candidates, well, I think it makes it into some kind of B event because, well, they're going to be the weaker players, but also, well, then we're going to have one event instead of having two events. That's also a pity. I mean, the female candidates should stand on its own. It should be an event by itself. I mean, it's a pity if we can only have one host city when we can actually have two different. I think that's just wrong. But I don't think I will get my way on this one either. I think they're going to do it the next time. But let's see.
Yeah, I think this lack of narrative applies to some extent not just to female events, but for example, with the online tours, like I just lose sight. Of course, you have Magnus and we keep track of him and so on. But it's very hard for me to say, did so do well in that one or did Duda win that one? And I mean, zero offense to anybody. Of course, there's a lot of great chess coverage and events. But yeah, somehow outside of the circuit, sometimes it feels like it's almost oversaturated sometimes with all the chess we're having. And also but that's the usual request from people that can't play chess anymore. The players have to understand they're in the entertainment business and have to give us more to chew on. So Hikaru doing a fine job giving us material. But no, I don't know. I don't have a fix for the women's candidates, I guess. Yeah, let's see who makes it out there. I'm a big Lei Ting-je fan, but I'm not sure how big her following is.
No, I mean, for me, it doesn't need to be fixed. It exists perfectly well on its own, and those who would like to watch it should watch it, and that's how it's supposed to be, and it doesn't bother me particularly. But
beautiful.
Anyway, Laurent hadn't noticed, basically.
Sorry?
Laurent's busy. Leave him alone. Sitting there in Cap d'Agde.
I'm playing. I have a tough tournament. Come on, playing too much.
Speaking of Cap d'Agde, should we talk about the sad situation of one of the former winners?
I mean, like even actually, it's more than the former winner. He came to every edition of Cap d'Agde, and actually they gave the name of the trophy which I'm playing to Karpov. So it was Karpov Trophy till. I mean, they removed the name of Karpov for this year for obvious reasons. But yeah, they have.
What is it now? The Jules Moussard trophy?
No, it's just the trophy. I think they have mixed feelings because the guy just came every year, and they feel some. I mean, it's a tough situation because he was very important to the goals of the tournament, Karpov, but to another, of course, level, his political, let's say, decisions were, of course, very, very dubious.
But anyway, we should probably explain that, Karpov is hospitalized at the moment, and the extent to how bad the situation is seems to be unknown, if I understand correctly, right?
Yeah.
There is very conflicting stories from that Karpov is not in too bad shape to that he's actually hospitalized with a head trauma and is in coma, artificial coma, as I understand.
The story here I heard is that he's doing fine, actually, from some friends here.
There is conflicting stories. I think also chess.com had a statement saying that from one of their sources, it seemed that he was in... and there was also some point, there was, I think, story that Karpov has been attacked outside the Russian State Duma, but this seems to have been denied. But there seems to be quite some uncertainty about several factors, as far as I can understand, right? Maybe some of you know better.
No clue. I just saw a bunch of tweets, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be a very potentially serious situation for him, but I think we just don't know. And there was suddenly a lot of rumors circulating on Twitter and some news. Someone even withdraw their tweets and things like this because it was too unclear what was happening. But
I could actually, his manager Quatley is here. I could ask him but I'm not in a chatting terms with him. So pity.
Use your personal connections, yeah. But also, maybe it's too serious a subject to rather either politicize or joke about, right? Karpov could actually be in very bad shape from what at least some of the people are saying. But as you say, if he's actually doing well, that'll be good. But it seemed unclear to me.
The beauty of Twitter, we get 5 versions of every story.
Yeah. So, what else? Junior power rankings?
These kids, they're all on holidays, right? Is anybody playing?
No,
Satorov, he scored like 7.5 out of 8 in...
That was amazing.
In 8 games in a row, that was pretty good.
That was in Fisher Random, right?
Yeah.
He started out kicking ass like crazy in the preliminaries. Well, I actually managed to see him. I had seen him before, of course, in the Olympiad, but briefly. But it seems like a very serious kid. Comes in a very, stylish suit for the rounds, and seems to be very serious. You can see that when we get the chess positions, Magnus will drag his second along, so you can joke with him. The others would sit and joke together. Sattarov would just sit on his own, fully focused, staring at the position, trying to grasp the details.
He came alone, yeah?
No, he came alone. He took it very seriously. He gives the impression of a very, very serious and hardworking guy. I mean, it was clear that for him this was a very interesting challenge. He wanted to do well, but as Jan pointed out, he peaked too early. I mean, I think he even, again, I don't want to spread fake news, but maybe he beat Nepomniachtchi as much as 4-0 in the preliminaries. But then he lost to Nakamura in the semifinals and was out.
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't know. I mean, the guy did great in the preliminaries, and he lost the semifinal, and then the final, I didn't get a medal. I don't know if that moves him up or down the power rankings.
No, I think that moves him up. So, I mean, like, let me recap. I mean, like, he was not moving the pieces at all. Like, he was staring at the board and...
He was just sitting there trying to grasp you understand, when you get a 960 position, you're trying to get into the details and you look at, okay, what is it that this position makes it special? Is there some kind of pieces that are unprotected? Also, how can I develop? And it takes a couple of minutes to get into this. I mean, then you think B4, C4, suddenly someone says, why shouldn't you go E4? But he just sits on his own and thinks like this. But no, he was sitting there fully focused, like it was his time to move during a chess game, and was just thinking hard. This was, it was impressive. I mean...
No, I think it's tough. I mean, he looks very motivated, hardworking, and...
I felt some sympathy for him in that way. That seems to be a serious sport athlete who wants to do well. He's curious about the game. He's trying hard to improve. He's trying hard to perform. And it was difficult not to respect. But also, I mean, the few phrases we spoke, he was very friendly and nice. So, I mean, nothing bad to say there.
Yeah, he did well. I don't know about... I think the Indian kids just took a rest, yeah? Eventually, probably they will come back in Champion Chess Tour. Champion Chess Tour is coming back, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in maybe in 2 weeks' time, we're gonna have the finals somewhere in the States. I forgot where. I'm embarrassing it so, but I think so. And I think Magnus, Duda, some of the kids are playing Giri as well. So Magnus has already won the whole thing, but of course it's still a tournament in itself. It's going to be played most likely in this kind of, what is it called? Esports setting where they are playing with computers.
So it's a major. It's a major tournament. So they double the prize fund as well.
The previous major was in the States as well, where Magnus and Hans was playing in the beach, right? So probably they have some PR activities where, yeah. You want to weigh in on what we said? Or?
Not really, no. I thought Abdusattorov was good and should give him points in their junior ranking because he won all these games. Rating-wise, not a lot has changed. It's still Firouzja, Gukesh, Eric Agassi, Abdusattorov, those are the 4 2700s. Then Keimer at 2698 and Niemann at 2697.6, followed by Pragnananda. I don't know. Looks like not a lot moving. We could have power rankings for who's most likely to make 400 million next year. But it's...
Or to get a settlement for 2 million, maybe. To become a millionaire. I think to become a millionaire, Niemann is a favorite. It's my pick. It's my bold.
You don't think your boy Alireza is a millionaire?
Maybe. Actually, already, huh? You think so?
Maybe. Made 250,000 in 1 month.
Yeah, but you have to, in France, there's some, because you have the same in Germany, which is called local tax. And
I'm well aware of.
And when you make this kind of money, If you still have, you will probably get less.
Well, they take half of it, no?
No, more.
How it works.
More than half of it, yeah. So, yeah. So it's a long way to become a millionaire, actually.
I think I might still be a Thai baht millionaire, even in my...
Yeah.
Once I went to the cashier in Vietnam, and I think I got like 600,000, what's it called? Duong. That was nice.
Yeah.
So Peter is not here, yeah, for his FIDE segment.
No, Peter's here. You can't hear him, but I can, which is good enough. So, Peter, tell us all about it.
Okay, so we start this week in FIDE segment, and I mean, due to numerous complaints that I'm just playing the old hits, I will go somewhere completely else where we haven't been before, but to Moldova. I mean, and well, my headline is a bit populistic, and it is FIDE actually involved in a coup in Moldova? That's probably stretching it way too far. But the last week, the U.S. Treasury came out with a report about the situation in Moldova, where they were talking a lot about corruption and Russian agents, and has been involved there. And well, in connection to the 2020 Moldovan presidential election, for instance. But even going back considerable years longer. Well, it's just on the U.S. Treasury site. You can find their report. You can also find a journalistic version about it in the Washington Post. So it's actually rather serious, media or institutions who is talking about that. You can also wonder, why is Moldova that relevant for Russia? But basically, you have to flip up a map and you will figure out why. It's located quite close to Ukraine. I think at some stage in the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there was fears that if Russia would get to Odessa, they could basically connect to their sort of to Transnistria, which is a part of Moldova that's claiming independence, is very Russian pro, and that basically Moldova would be in risk of folding like that. So Moldova very much has geopolitical relevance for Russia in that way. And well, anyway, I'm just babbling about the situation in Moldova, but what's the connection to FIDE? Well, if you look at the FIDE website, there is something called the FIDE Zonal Council, and that's basically, well, the leaders of FIDE, like Dvorkovich, and then all the zonal presidents. And if you go down to zone 1.8, you will find Igor Dodon, who is the zonal president there, and he's very much mentioned in the U.S. Treasury report, in the Washington Post article as well. Igor Dodon is the head of the Moldovan Chess Federation, but he's much more known for being the former president of Moldova. I think he was the president from 2016 to 2020, and the reports are linking him heavily to corruption with Russia, to that Russian agents was in touch with his party, and so on and so forth. He has recently been put into house arrest, accused of corruption. He was actually in house arrest before the FIDE elections, but still registers as the head of the Moldovan Chess Federation with the right to vote. I think at some point it became a story that he will be removed. And the Russian news agency TASS wrote an article, I think in May, that no, Dodon is going to stay as head of the Moldovan Chess Federation. And I think also recently, as 18th of September, he even called for that it should be a coup in Moldova, that it would be the right thing to do. And, well, what is the links to FIDE except for that? Well, Dodon was one of the people who was nominating Dvorkovich back in 2018, for instance. And also shortly after the elections, when Dvorkovich had won in 2018, Viral Bologan was announced as a new FIDE employee. And that was not done on the FIDE website. It was done on the Dodon's presidential Facebook account, for instance. So there is very much ties in that way. And also, well, maybe not FIDE, you can argue, but Bologan and Karpov has helped Dodon by campaigning. You can find pictures of Bologan and Karpov playing symbols, for instance, like that. Bologan himself was even a member of Dodon's party. He was elected into parliament like that. And, well, basically I'm trying to say that someone who is, well, incredibly influenced in Moldova, is connected to FIDE and to chess, and has sort of been recommending Dvorkovich. He's gotten things in return, and so on and so forth. But also, of course, a relevant question would be that, well, these ties with Dodon being president in Moldova and getting heavily influenced by Russia. Some says that even having speeches approved and sent to there, getting financial support, was even back in the times when Dvorkovich was not in FIDE, but was actually active in Kremlin at that point. So, well, it would be relevant to know. Maybe Dvorkovich actually knew about that when he was still getting involved with him in the chess world. But anyway, that's the situation in Moldova. You can also look a little bit to the women's candidates tournament in Monaco. Basically, FIDE is saying that, well, we don't want to have any Russian money anymore, but I think the definition of what is Russian money is quite different than maybe not what I expected, but what I hoped for. That, for instance, if you look at the pictures being taken at sort of who makes the first moves, one of them was Ina Bashanova, who was is one of the sponsors or married to one of the sponsors. They have some art things together, but you can see that her husband is on the Ukrainian pre-sanctions list with a bunch of financial interest in Russia. And I think generally this idea that we're trying to distance ourselves from sports washing Russian sponsors and having, getting Russian monies into FIDE is not exactly done at 100% level or intensity, to put it mild. And maybe the last thing is more of a joke, but I think everybody is talking about Twitter. You have to pay to get verified. You have to pay to get your blue tick, right? And I sympathize with that, but that's basically what I've been complaining about in FIDE for a long time. That even if you are a well-known trainer, you have to pay your FIDE 300 euros to FIDE just to get registered as an official coach. So, I mean, that everybody's complained that they have to pay $8 to get verified is, I agree with them, but it's have been much worse in FIDE in a way. But I can see that Laurent has almost finished his huge donut, so I will give the word back to you if you have any kind of questions or applause.
No, I wouldn't compare FIDE to Twitter, to be honest. And my donut was good.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, Twitter is a private company, so I think the comparison is a bit weak.
I don't know. FIDE is also, I mean, that was the problem, that FIDE shouldn't be acting like a private company, but they quite did, in my opinion. I mean, that you have to pay 300 euros to be registered as a coach for the French team, I think is unreasonable.
I don't think, but you have to be? I
think you have to, or maybe it's been changed now, but just generally, I mean, some things has to be certified here in life. I mean, well, your driver's license, that has to be certified. That doctors, not everybody can call themselves a medical doctor is reasonable. But that everybody can call themselves a chess coach, I really don't see the problem in. I mean, that's not something that has to be protected. I don't get the point of that at all.
But it's not chess coach, it's FIDE senior trainer.
Jan is a FIDE senior trainer, but I don't think Mazetovic is a FIDE senior trainer. So you can be a coach of the Olympiad and... Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, but you can. There is certain things you cannot do. For instance, also if you want to win the coach of the
which one?
Well, if you want to win the coach of the year award, for instance, you have to be a FIDE licensed coach.
But you are then.
So
because you won.
Yeah, I was. I mean, the only reason I won this award was that. That year, I was the coach of the Lithuanian team at the Olympiad. So Lithuanian Federation ended up paying like 200-300 euros or maybe the Danish Federation paid. Maybe they didn't notice, but just ended up paying. And that was kind of it. But Kazumjanov said the same, that when he got it recently, it was because that he needed to register. And then they gave him the award as well. So I think, but I dislike the idea. I don't want to be a FIDE verified coach. I mean, why should I be? Well, they have no business doing that, and they are using it for a way to sort of tax people, and they really should. Anyway, that was the least important of the subjects I spoke about. I mean, well, also, when I talk about Igor Dodon, I understand that he's perhaps not a friend of yours, but you actually met him, right?
Yeah. No, he's not a friend of mine. But yeah, I went to Moldova many times due to my personal reasons. And... I met some officials from there, and what was, I mean, like something I will share my spying with you. It was not spying, but I was surprised that the speech were given in Romanian, and then when they were talking together, they were talking in Russian. So it was clear that all these officials, it was clear that their, let's say that cultural background was clearly 100% Russian. I mean, but in public they would talk Romanian. That was a bit weird to me, But that's the only thing I noticed. It was not long.
Yeah.
I gave a Simon one time, I think, there, and he was there. And actually, I think, I mean, he's very much interested in chess. So maybe I even played him. I'm not sure, but for sure I met him. And yeah, that's the only thing I could I could notice for you. Sorry, Peter. It's not much.
Okay. Not much of a spy, but well, whatever I can get,
okay.
I take. So, Jan, you want to weigh in on the FIDE subject? So better not.
I don't know any of these people. I don't think it's a stretch to think that Moldova was on Putin's list of strategic targets. Other than that, I can't weigh in on anything. I hope it won't get there, and we don't have to have any debates. If they just want to control Transnistria or the whole place, or which phony or not phony ex-president also happens to be the president of the Chess Federation, which would then, of course, make Peter draw an arrow towards FIDE.
Of course. I mean, don't you see that Moldova and Georgia are being employed in FIDE? You don't see a pattern there. No, you probably don't.
I do not. I hope they'll be fine, but the FIDE links, I'm not that concerned about at this point.
Jan is planning his next trip to Thailand. I mean, he has important business to deal with. I mean, he doesn't he sees a pattern with Moldova and Georgia. It's country where he's not planning to visit during the winter.
These are non-Thailand countries.
Non-Thailand countries.
Exactly.
Not to visit during winter because it's incredibly cold in both countries during winter.
I can imagine.
Oh boy.
Preferably
30
not.
hours ago, I was wearing a t-shirt, sitting in the sun, having a delicious apple crumble pie for 55 baht.
We do actually appreciate you showing up for the podcast very much. So I'm actually
I traveled back to get here.
Yeah. That's
So chicken of the week. Do you have anybody? For me, it's chicken massaman curry is my chicken of the week.
yeah. I mean, no. I'm trying to come up with convoluted reasons for getting in Geary, but it's hard these days. I mean,
He chicken out from playing, no? Or is he playing? Maybe he's playing.
Global.
He's playing something.
He's playing the global. I think he's playing this global championship on chess.com as we speak. Actually, I think he won the first game against Radyanov.
He's also snuck into some chess-based India competition. No, like he's playing all the bases.
Yeah, and also this what is it called? The Magnus Chess Tour, the big final event. He also snuck into. Maybe I will nominate the organizers there. I mean, they keep giving Geary a wild card. I mean, don't take popular streamers. Take some who doesn't play the preliminaries and get knocked out. So I don't know. That's a bit anti-Gearish, but it's difficult to come up with good chickens these days. In Chess 960, there is no chickens. That's the whole point of it, right? Well, you're going to go out of business if 960 wins the battle for world chess domination, I'm afraid.
Even Wesley, he did disappoint me when he was banking all his hopes on a wrong castle, But that was very risky, I thought. I mean, that was bold. I mean, okay, come on. Because I'm sure he was not 100% sure that it was legal. Because he's not... I mean, you understand that you are in check and maybe it's not possible to castle. And if he cannot castle, he has to resign. So that was actually quite a risk. That didn't pay off.
Did you think he could castle there? I thought you're in check. Of course you can't castle, but maybe there's more to it.
No, I agree that when I thought about it, I thought he couldn't castle. But when I didn't think about it, I thought he could just castle. Okay. If you get my point. Mm-hmm. You just calculate a line. I mean, it's a bit weird that the king can escape to safety, but not like that. But I don't know. I would say it's pretty weak chicken. You have a good chicken, Jan? You only have dishes. No?
I had a lot of good chicken, but no, I didn't have any opportunities to chicken out in Thailand.
You took a bite. I took a bite. That just seems like a very sound decision.
I did 12 moves though today.
Congrats.
To secure a spot. I mean, that was, but yeah. So I can nominate myself. But
You're just a battle-hardened professional. That's not chicken. Yeah.
And sometimes when I debated this openings position with Magnus, I didn't speak my mind freely. I think that's just common sense. It's not being chicken, to be honest. This move looks good. No, of course, Magnus signing off from the World Championship, you could put in that category, but we have spoken about it many times. It's not for chickenest reason he doesn't want to play the World Championship. He just doesn't seem to care enough. But you saw that he said in some interview that, I'm not playing this World Championship, but I could actually consider coming back at some point. That I'm not ruling out.
Peter, I've been awake for 40 hours. I don't rule out coming back for this podcast, but no more Magnus talk today.
Okay. Well, good night, Jan, and thanks for being with us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.